All right, today we're going to break down a really fascinating formula from a creator who has totally cracked the code on YouTube Shorts. We're talking tens of millions of views on a single channel, and he claims anyone can do it. So, what exactly is this viral blueprint? Let's get into it.
I mean, that sounds kind of impossible, right? But the creator behind this whole system says that some people using his method are seeing numbers even bigger than that. And if you don't believe him, well, check out his own numbers.
Okay, first up, 66 million views on one short. That's not just a successful video. For an audience that big, that's practically a cultural event. And it's not a fluke either. Here's another one hitting 54 million. See? This is what happens when you have a system that actually works. And a third one with 42 million. The creator, Mr. Deepak Fax, is super clear about this. These are not just happy accidents. He says this is the predictable result of a formula he spent time perfecting. That is a seriously bold promise. He's so confident in this, he actually believes anyone who follows his method can get a flood of silver play buttons. And that means having multiple channels blow past that 100,000 subscriber mark. So how on earth does he do it? Let's unpack the very first step.
First off, and maybe the most crucial part of this whole thing, is finding the video clips. The entire strategy is built on repurposing content, but he makes a huge point that doing it safely is absolutely everything. So he's sourcing his clips from a specific Chinese video app, which he doesn't actually name, by the way. He says the real key is to find clips that tell a story with just the visuals, without any talking. This makes them a perfect blank canvas for him to put a new voiceover on in any language. Okay, this is where it gets really tactical. He insists you should never use the app's own download button. Instead, he uses this 3-step workaround. You find the clip, you hit the share button to copy its link, and then you use a totally separate third-party downloader to save the file. It might seem like a bit of a hassle, but here's why he says it's an absolute must. So what's the big deal with the download button? Well, he claims that the direct download not only embeds a watermark, but it could also hide metadata that might get your channel flagged. By copying the link, you get a completely clean, sterile clip that, in his opinion, is way safer for building a channel for the long term. So you've got your clean clip. Now it's time to actually forge it into something totally new. Welcome to the editing blueprint. His visual edit is just ruthlessly efficient. First, you trim it down. Find only the most exciting moments and keep the total clip under 60 seconds. Second, you completely mute the original audio. You're building everything from scratch. Third, you boost the colors and saturation to make the visuals really pop on a little phone screen. And finally, you add your own subtle watermark just to claim it as your new creation. With the visuals all locked in, we get to what he calls the real engine of virality, the voiceover. And this isn't about just narrating what's happening, it's about invention. And this is the wild part. He doesn't use a script at all. It's pure improv. He watches the clip, a little story sparks in his head, and then he just hits record and performs it. His method for this is actually pretty smart. He'll just loop the video 3 or 4 times, letting his story kind of emerge naturally in his mind. Then, instead of trying to do a stressful, long recording, he just records in these short 5 to 6 second bursts. This makes it so much easier to sync up what he's saying with the action on screen. And you don't need to be a professional voice actor for this. What's so interesting here is how simple his techniques are. To play a man, he just lowers his voice. For a woman, a higher pitch. For a child, a thinner, sort of cuter tone. It's a really basic toolkit, but it's all you need to create these distinct, understandable characters. Okay, visuals, check. Voiceover, check. All that's left is that final polish that glues everything together and makes it ready to go viral. And this just illustrates his audio philosophy perfectly. The voiceover is king. He pushes it to the absolute max in his editor, like 200%, to make sure it's crystal clear, even on cheap phone speakers. The background music is just that, background, kept way down at 10% to add a little mood without being distracting. And then a few sound effects are just sprinkled in like seasoning. Now here's one of his more unusual pro tips. On his final voice track, he increases the pitch by just 1%. It's this tiny, almost unnoticeable change, but he believes it gives the voice a subtle lift that just performs better with his audience. And here's the last crucial point. After all this work, you can't fall at the last hurdle. His rule is simple. Export in the absolute highest quality your phone can handle, even 4K. On YouTube, high quality just signals professionalism, and it's a final step you just can't skip.
And there you have it, the full blueprint. Find foreign content, strip it down, and build a whole new story on top of it. I mean, the results are undeniable. But it does raise a bigger question, right? In this race for attention, is the most creative act no longer creation, but curation? Is this just clever, or is this the future of content?